So what are some of the things that it takes to be successful? Some of the things that I do like to do every day, some of the common denominators of success. Have you ever gone into a doctor's office and he said, oh, I sold my books back, my college books back? You'd be like, I'm not going to that doctor, would you? Somebody told me that when I was a kid, when I was in college. So for me, books and reading are an every part day of my ritual. I read for probably an hour a day, sometimes up to 3 hours a day. And I read and I learn. Just because I'm done with school doesn't mean I'm done learning. And there's all sorts of things that are really great to learn about, especially since I own a business. How many here want to actually own a restaurant and want to own a business? Just here, raise of hands. Awesome. So it takes far more than cooking to open a restaurant. Anybody who works for me will tell you, something breaks, I gotta be the plumber at 9 p.m. on a Friday night. Monday morning, I gotta be the accountant. Thursday afternoon, I gotta be a marketing maniac to get people in the door for the weekend. So owning a restaurant involves much, much more than cooking. So reading for me is key to keep up on everything, on the food aspects, the trends, the business approach, and what other people are doing. Let's face it, nothing in food is that new. Things are copied and then recreated. So for me, a big part of my success is seeing what other people are doing and putting my twist on it. And I gotta tell you, a lot of this stuff is downright copying, stealing, and plagiarizing, and then putting my own twist on it. But if I don't read and if I don't experience and I don't do that, then I don't know what anybody else is doing. Something super important that I've done on and off, that I've done lately, is I write my goals down every day. I write what I want to do. I break it down into several aspects. Financial, because financials are important for me now. Let me go back to finances. I really hit on a point before about not taking a job for the money. So I was working for $8 an hour. My friends took jobs for $12 an hour. I went to a place to learn something. Then I got my next job, $8.86 an hour. Then $9.54 an hour. Then I was like at 10 and change. And I remember I hit $11 an hour. This was like 3 years out of culinary school, 4 years out of culinary school. I'm making $11 an hour. My friends had started at that when they graduated. Now I got married. I was moving to Colorado, wanted to buy a house. Now I said, okay, I have 4 solid years after culinary school, 2 solid years during culinary school, because I worked during culinary school. I have 6 years of solid knowledge. I've worked at some really awesome places. Now it's time to start making money. So I put that resume out there. I went from $11 an hour to $45,000 to $100,000 like that. Within 2 years, skyrocketed. Because I had this massive foundation of everything I needed to know and everything that was appealing to an employer. They looked at my resume. I went to jobs that they wouldn't basically interview me because I was too qualified. I go to interview for an executive chef job in a country club for $40,000. They go, I'm sorry, I can't hire you. You won't be happy here because the guy down the street's going to offer you 60 or 70. You're going to get another job. You're going to move somewhere. You're going to do something else. So it was really cool because I didn't know that was going to happen. I just knew, hey, I'm buying a house. I'm getting married. I'm having kids. I need to make some more money than $11 an hour. And everything was in place at that point. So you see the importance of not taking a job for the money? Making more money would have actually hindered my career. I wouldn't went to work to places that I probably wouldn't have learned what I learned and had to work as hard. Now, the biggest thing nowadays is labor is so short in this industry. The qualified labor, the people that show up to work, it's amazing that as a restaurant owner, it's hard for me to hire people. So a lot of restaurants, and this has been going on for years because the industry is slowly getting worse like this, a lot of restaurants do prepared foods. You can buy anything prepared. You can open it up. I had a conversation with a friend of mine who owns 40 restaurants, really nice restaurants, by the way. Is one of the restaurants that has one of the best wine lists in New York City. And he's telling me that he's buying more and more prepared foods in his restaurants because he can't get the staff. If you go work at a place that's using prepared foods, you're never going to learn how to make icing for a cupcake. Your version of icing is going to be opening up a container. When you go to get a job later and you're in charge of showing people how to make icing, you can't do that. You're not going to get that job. So the more you can learn of the fundamentals, you're coming to school to learn all the basics and make stuff. When you leave here, you want to keep expanding on that. And you don't know how to make icing until you've done it 1,000 times. You don't know how to make omelets until you've done them 1,000 times. School is great. School's a start. Working is where it happens. You have to leave here and say, I'm going to keep learning. I'm going to keep working. And effort, 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 effort. And believe me, that pays off. You need to get out of your comfort zone. I'm guilty of that sometimes. I'm just like comfort doing this. You really grow and expand when you get out of your comfort zone. I did a lot of moving when I was younger. West Virginia, Colorado 3 times, London. Moving to London was getting out of my comfort zone. Moving to West Virginia was getting out of my comfort zone. West Virginia's cool. It's isolated, certain parts, but there's, you know. So getting out of your comfort zone pushes you and makes you grow. Because you have to grow when you're out of your comfort zone. So it's super important. Patience. Rome wasn't built overnight, and neither is your career. This is the long haul. I mean, I know people that are in their mid-50s that are getting the jobs of their lifetime right now. And they're like, wow, I would have never thought. This is a career that you just keep building upon and building upon and building upon and building upon. It's amazing what can really happen. I've been in business for 14 years. I just wrote my first book. Got out of my comfort zone. I'm not a writer. I got out of my comfort zone and I started writing. So 50 mistakes business owners make. 14 years in business, I've seen a lot of mistakes that I've made, and I see a lot of mistakes that other people made. Part of the learning process, I belong to a mastermind group. Are you familiar with a mastermind group? What a mastermind group is? So a mastermind group is a bunch of people get together that want to share ideas and learn from each other and feed off of each other. So I travel 3 times a year, my wife and I. We travel to food cities across the country, and we lock ourselves in a conference room with 50 to 75 other independent restaurant owners. And we go there, we do contests, we hire speakers, because we pay to do this. We pay about $1,000 a month to be part of this mastermind group. Some mastermind groups are free, some cost, but the more you pay, the more you get out of it. So we lock ourselves into these conference rooms, and we have to pay for our flights to get there in our hotel, so that $1,000 a month doesn't cover any of that. That $1,000 a month is only to brush shoulders with people that are doing 10 times the business as me, that are going to inspire me and pick me up. And there's a person there that I can inspire and pick up. So we lock ourselves in this conference room for 2-3 days and share all of our ideas, all of our secrets, and help each other improve. So 10 years of doing that, this book was a reality. 10 years of masterminding with top-level restaurateurs from across the country and throughout Canada. So people, people are often, chefs especially, don't like to share their secrets. They don't like to share recipes. And I can't stand when I go to a restaurant. I'm like, oh, how'd you make that? They're like, oh, it's a secret. That's so old and archaic. I wouldn't have written this book if I didn't want to share. For $19.99, if you applied 2 or 3 things in here, this is going to make you $100,000. And it's only going to make me $15 after I printed this and hours of work. Sharing is where it's at, and that's why a mastermind group works. And that's why this college worked for me, because I had professors, I had teachers, there's faculty here that wanted to share and bring me up. And that's when I got into the culinary field. I found chefs who were mentors that brought me up, that shared. And there were certain chefs that didn't want to share. And you could tell who they were. Don't work for those people. Work for somebody who's going to show you everything, who's going to teach you. Because remember, that's what this is about. We're all learning still.